I'm here with Sherry Schaefer. She's going to tell me about her experimental Oliver.
Awesome. So this is my Super 77 GM. I found this in Oakley, Michigan a couple years ago. I was driving around on the golf cart and saw it had a for sale sign on it. I saw it had a GM engine, and I had a Sharpie in my pocket, so I went over there and wrote not anymore. And so I ended up asked me if I want to drive it, and it was love at first spark. And so I bought it, thinking there was something special about it. There's Super 88 GMs that were experimental that I know about and know where they are. They all have this same grill, and they also have the same style of hammering out around here. Everything looked alike. So I kind of had a clue that maybe this is something special too. And the engine is such a good fit in here, done so nicely. It didn't look like a barnyard job. So bought it, tried to find some information on it, couldn't. I did end up talking to the previous owner who had bought it on Marketplace, and I talked to that guy who had bought it at an auction of a guy that worked for GM. Unfortunately, he had passed away, but I do know he was working up there around Milford, the GM Proving Ground. So that gave me a stronger clue that that's where it came from. So I decided to go to Charles City and do some research. They couldn't find anything on it, but I said, "Do you mind if I go look?" And so I went up there and looked. And I found an envelope that said Super 77 GM. Like, this has got to be it. It's got to be my tractor. But this envelope's going to be empty. I just know it. And so I opened the envelope, pulled out the negative, held it up, and there it was with the rear mount blower on it, with the frame that's all cut out behind here. You can't see it, but that's all cut out so that the engine would fit in it. There are 5 pictures. They're good enough that you can zoom in and actually see the serial number on it. So the serial number I was able to match up with mine. Got some pictures here. So there's one of the pictures. You can see how the frame is cut out there.
Yeah. I don't know if it's just going to show up on here.
There's, if you zoom in on the serial number, and then that matches my serial number.
Yeah,
But,
here's a reflection here, but that'll work.
But it's undoubtedly the same tractor. Been a learning process ever since. Even today I learned something. There are pictures of this tractor. The frame is all painted silver, and you can still see some silver. Well, I didn't know what the silver was. So a guy was over here earlier that was a machinist and said that is called stress coat, and they would spray that on there, and then they will twist the frame, bend the frame, try to manipulate it, and then the cracks will all show as to where the most stress is. And here you'll be able to see a lot of cracks in there. So now that I know that, I'm going to take this home and pull this off, and we're going to see what it looks like underneath.
See if there's more evidence of things.
Right. It runs great. It's got a dead battery right now, but I had it running earlier, which I believe you listened to that. It's just really cool. I'm going to put it back. We're going to restore it, but it's going to be somewhat a restoration preservation, because you don't want to take away everything that those guys did in experimental. You still want it to look like a nice tractor. So right now we're trying to decide whether we leave the grill, because this is the grill that was on it and it's also on the Super 88, or do we put the Fleetline grill on there, because I think that would really look nice. But then somebody mentioned, well, maybe you put this behind the Fleetline grill, so you're still keeping it there. So I don't know yet, but right now it's fun to play with.
So do you think that they were close to putting that in, or they just changed their mind?
It's hard to say. I mean, they had to be thinking about it, especially with the Super 88s, because they did 3 of those, and they did the 88s before they did the 77. So that was a couple years sooner. But as far as I know, they only did 1 of these. They had a good relationship with GM. I know they did one in later years in the smaller tractors. Just one of them that they were playing with. So I can't believe they were just testing the engine. That Detroit was just, or GM testing the engine. I believe they were really trying to get it in something. Oh, and another thing, they offer kits where you can repower your tractor. So I've got a lot of literature on repowering, like the Farmall M, the Case 400. It's just H's and M's. There's a lot of kits that GM actually offered. So there's potentially, they took this to try and put it in a 77 and see how it worked, and then offer that kit outside of Oliver. So I have not found any documentation on that yet, and I don't believe it ever happened because more people would have one, I would think. And this is the only one anybody knows of.
So you got any cool things that you see that were probably done by Oliver for testing? What can you tell me about the orange and green?
Well, the tractor was green from the factory. I believe that it was changed to orange when GM had it, was doing some experimenting with it. And then when the guy got it back, then he went back to green. So they did a terrible job with the orange. The other side, there's overspray everywhere. But I peeled a nice chunk off. It's probably off of there. It's in the trailer. But it's green on both sides and orange in the middle. And I think the orange was part of the disguise, because when they were experimenting with stuff, they didn't really want you knowing what it was, which is why they put the grills on them and always made them look different. The original tires, we will change the tires and make it look nice.
You know, so you got stuff like this that it gives it character, you know.
The guy that had it put a loader on it.
Okay.
So the loader brackets are back there, and this was part of it being bolted up. I'd like to get a different radiator. However, the neck, which would be in the middle on the Oliver, didn't work with this, so they had to put another neck on the other side. So that'd be a lot of modification if you had to change that. So I'm going to keep the original grill.
So you think this was part of the loader, this plate, or part of
No, I think this is something they put on there to strengthen it.
Okay.
Because it was just too weak by the time they notched all that frame out. I mean, if you look at that, there's not a lot left there. That's all cut out. So that really weakened it.
Yeah.
You got all the stress marks there. So, and these pictures were taken in Charles City. They actually have the hydroelectric cylinders hanging on it. So I believe this is just one they pulled out of the line. It's not one they made special, said, oh, you know, we're gonna make one to send to GM. Because it wouldn't have had a belt pulley on it. It wouldn't have had the hydroelectric cylinders hanging there. So I really feel they just pulled this one out of the line and did it. I have not found the build card for it yet. But I'm still looking. Other things, this guy, he didn't like putting the batteries in that little hole, which I got to screw down. So he cut a big hole in here and messed it up. So I'm not going to leave that. We're going to fix that. That won't work. There was no side panels on here. If there were, they would have covered this up. Wouldn't be able to see that. Somehow, I'm going to try and put covers back on it. Whether I mount this somewhere else, I'm not sure, but I just think it'd look a lot cleaner if it had the side panels on it.
Yeah.
It's interesting that they were able to get that blower on the back and that everything is pretty much contained inside except for this sticking out. So I think this is the pipe going across there. I think this is part of the loader too. I do have pictures of it with the loader on it.
Oh yeah, so this has had to be straightened out.
Yeah.
To get around the engine.
Yeah, and the bell housing, because the starter's on the other side. They had to put a plate over that and block the starter. They moved the starter to this side, had to cut it all out. So there's a piece of tin all here, going around here to cover all that up. So that was a pretty big modification to cut into that bell housing like that.
All right, well, thanks for your time and telling me about your experimental Oliver.
Yeah.
Don't see them very often, huh?
No, and since it's got a GM in it, we're calling it Jiminy Cricket.
For more information on Sherry's experimental tractor, look for Oliver Heritage number 127 or go to oliverheritage.com. Do you like Oliver tractors and equipment? If so, you can show me support by hitting that thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it. Leave a comment. Consider subscribing, it's free. YouTube will notify you when I release a new video. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.